Weather, W259AV.
Powell, Knoxville.
So the content cut creators, okay? Back in the day, this is the essence of things before we had a real college baseball season to bore down on. We would pore over these rankings this time of the year, and they would really urinate you off, like they got Tennessee 7 in America and Florida number 2, and no, we're better than them, and all off season and all summer, and there are so few of them now. There are just so few of them. Today we're going football. I'll welcome you in. And by the way, shout out to my friends at Rather and Kittrell Capital Management. Y'all are class acts. They sent me a nice little care package yesterday with a really nice note. And y'all are class people. So the beginning of today's program, we were going to have somebody in here on our Rather and Kittrell Capital Management World Champs Wednesday, but that kind of fell through. So here we are. We're going to talk about Phil Steele's ratings that he's released. And for the beginning of the season and go through these. And I'm going to bring Sean Sinclair in here. Watson Brown's going to join. I want to hear from you today. What on Phil Steele's ratings do we buy, sell, or trade? He's had a pretty good handle on Tennessee down through the years. He's had a pretty good handle on what's what. Before we get to his ratings, I kind of thought that even with Nico, this was going to be a step-back season for Tennessee. Many of you don't agree with that. That's fine. One thing about me, I'm always going to give you my opinion, and I'm always going to try to have some semblance of a reason why I feel about a certain way on any subject we talk about on here. But I'm a big believer in ball players when it comes to college football. I'm a big believer in talent. I love coaching. I think coaching matters. I think schemes matter, certainly. You play in this league, you better have some players. Maybe as a late, great Mike Patrick once said, some pliers. You better have some pliers. My friends at Rather and Kittrell Capital Management, look, maybe you're not sure how to make your money last in retirement. You can start smart planning today means peace of mind tomorrow. Maybe you're changing jobs. Maybe you're unsure what to do with a 401k. Help you make the right move there. Selling a business, getting a financial windfall, make your money work for you. Recently lost a spouse or partner. You don't have to navigate your financial decisions alone. They can help you with personalized financial planning, disciplined investment strategy, ongoing guidance and partnership. Rather and Kittrell, helping you make smart money decisions through life's transitions. rkcapital.com. Start planning today and schedule a free consultation. Go to rkcapital.com. Let me bring Sean Sinclair in without further ado. Cinco, welcome in. How you doing? You excited to talk some football today?
Tony, I very much am. Thanks for having me again. Hope you're having a great week, and more importantly, hope all your listeners are having a great week.
Cinco, a little birdie told me that we might want to scratch Mason Estrada off the incoming baseball player list, as they had a draft combine yesterday for some of these guys so they can get a look at some of these draftable type college players. The guy was number 3 in velo yesterday at the draft combine and threw an electrifying fastball, I'm being told.
I have to confess, the name doesn't ring a bell. I'll have to look him up.
So, at any rate, there's so many moving parts with regards to this baseball draft. We had Ben McKee on yesterday, who I don't know how he keeps track of all these names. But one thing Brian Hartman said that's pretty interesting, he said, when you guys are talking football recruiting, my eyes gloss over. But when you're talking about the transfer portal in baseball and then putting their baseball roster together for next year, he said he finds it compelling and interesting. Why do you think that is? It seems like, and there's a high level of interest in the baseball recruiting. Why do you think that is, Sean, in terms of the way it seems to translate in this era that we're now in, from the football to the baseball, and even comparing basketball to it, where basketball is like a one-to-one proposition. You know those basketball guys, you're going to see them next year.
I think it might be related to the fact that baseball, for the most part at this level, transfer portal guys, at least here, seem to make an immediate impact. Griffin Merritt made an impact. There are other guys that have made impacts this past year. 3 of the 4 made some All-American team. So they seem to have immediate returns. The money, the NIL money, doesn't seem to be. I think some people have said maybe for Cannon Peebles early on, but that doesn't seem to be a factor. Too much pressure because it's still within the common fans, lexicon, if you will. So maybe that's the case. Also because football recruiting, basketball recruiting seems to be, from my eyes, just a bidding war. And then if you're of that elevation of player, you're only going to be maybe somewhere 1 year, and so I'll play anywhere for the most money. So maybe that plays into it.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, isn't it? It's like we were talking about this whole concept of the playoff, and I want to get into this with Watson Brown. When they go to this 11-5 format, or 5+11, which means there are 4 power leagues, they're still going to invite the group of 5 team, one group of 5 team. There's your 5, and then you find 11 at-large teams, and then the question becomes, who from the SEC is really a candidate to get to the playoff? Who's really in that game annually? Sean, I say that the 3 teams with the best advantage are Georgia, because they have the proximity and they have the money. They've shown that. They were extremely active in the portal this past year, even though they're still at the top of the sport. That's a pretty rough combination to try and leap over. LSU, Sean, down through the years, I mean, hell, Les Miles won a national championship there. That's a great job that was looking for the right guy to come along. And Saban, like Ryan on The Office, Saban started the fire. And then the third one is Texas. Texas has the history, and they got the oil money, and it looks like they have a pretty solid coach here. I think those 3 teams roll out of bed expecting, Sean, to make a playoff pretty much every year, if you go to a 16-team format. Am I wrong?
No, I don't think you are, but I think there's a common denominator. You can have the money, you can have the want to, but do you have the stomach to go get players? The common denominator with Pete Carroll at USC, with Oklahoma back in the Switzer days, with Nick Saban, no matter where he's been. You mentioned Georgia, Texas, and Ohio State. Those teams all have an incredible, insatiable hunger for the best players, whether it's high school or it's transfer portal. They come up with the money. That is a commitment. They work the hardest. Kids come out of there where other teams thought they had the lead, and things instantly change. My question is that when is the thought that you can outcoach another program? That's folly. That's foolhardy. That's impossible. Josh Heupel and the like throughout the country are not going to outcoach consistently a team with more players. It's not going to happen. It's not happened. if that was the case, then the Butlers in basketball would consistently be in the top 5, et cetera, et cetera. So while we and Josh Heupel could be, I think you were right the other day, maybe last week, when you said Josh Heupel seemed to be the guy in the right place at the right time when Spire looked like it was the bell cow of the NIL scene.
Yep.
But things now have leveled off, and we're back to a program that looks to be, I think I looked it up last week, last year's recruiting class was by On3 11th in the country, but 8th in the conference. Now, you were saying 5 + 3 + 1, whatever the numbers are. 8 in the conference isn't going to get you into a playoff. So I just, and then also we're in year 4 or 5 of Josh Heupel. Where is the consistent elite development of players coming through the system? Texas, Ohio State, and Alabama, as Bino said last week, or maybe even Monday, not only do they hit the transfer portal, but they rely on getting great high school kids and let them get better. So I'm excited about your talk today about Phil Steele. 44, 41, whatever seems to be an outlier, but based on his long tenure of evaluating teams with his criteria, when he explains it, I think it's going to raise some eyebrows.
So today on the show,
and Mason Estrada is the transfer portal pitcher from MIT,
and he rocked it. For people wondering,
to him. I hope he makes it here. But if his future, based on that draft performance, gets him a lot of money, then best of luck to him.
And here's the thing about, again, the high velo guys. We're back to baseball here for a second. What they care about there is tracking your ball and what your spin rates were. It's great you got high velo. Tennessee had a bunch of those guys last year. But in case you were wondering if a guy from MIT can pitch, apparently this guy can think and pitch. Because they ain't putting people like me in MIT, okay? The only thing I would have done at MIT is maybe clean somebody's office. I would never, and I mean ever, have been able to walk on a campus like MIT. They would have got me off. I mean, they would have called the cops on me or something. But at any rate, we're going to get Watson Brown in here, and we're going to visit on some of these projections. Phil Steele has basically one SEC team in his top 5. Here's the thing about the Southeastern Conference this year, which is why it would have been really interesting to see if Nico would have come back. And when we get Steele on the show, which won't be today, by the way, but when we get him on, one of the things I want to talk to him about is what would Tennessee have looked like when you plug him into the formula if Nico would have stayed. Now, I don't know. Obviously, when you displace your quarterback, which has been a theme of mine since Nico left, when you displace a quarterback, to me that's akin to when you watch a NASCAR race and you get those cars all in a pack, and then you get out in clean air and you get out of the draft, you're going to go to the back of the pack. And then you got to fight your way out of it. That's my analogy for where Tennessee football is right now. They're in the process of the pack is sort of past them. Like that rating on the Vols does not insult me because they have to dig out of this now. I think that is a accurate depiction of where we are. And they got to dig themselves out of it. And Joey football has to be an answer. Josh Heupel's offense has to be an answer. Which has had more questions than answers the last few years. It is what it is. The offensive line has to be an answer. Wide receiver, they've got to come up with some answers. But here's the thing about this year that's really strange. Because Mike Huguenin brought this up to Bino and myself a couple weeks ago when we were at Calhoun's on the River. it's a year where you look at the top five. I sent my two Penn State buddies, Joe O'Sullivan and Fidanza, who come down here for games. They come every year to a Tennessee game. I sent them those ratings. I said, are you guys buying, selling, or trading Penn State at number 1? They said, are you kidding me? With Big Game James coaching? They said, that's a joke. Big Game James is number 1. That's what the Penn State fan base calls James Franklin. Big Game James. And they don't call him that out of love and loyalty. They call him that because when he gets in the squared circle, with, like Sean says, with somebody that has equal or greater talent, more times than not, Penn State gets smacked. Now, the thing about Big Game James is he's a consistent stacker of 10-win seasons, which means that when they go to this 5+11 format, Penn State will live in the playoffs out of that league. Most years. They're going to live in the play. They're going to make it, under him, they'll make it 4 out of 5 years. Most times than not, this league's going to get 6 teams in that new playoff they're cooking up. And it's supposed to happen, the meeting is, I believe, supposed to happen tomorrow, where they're going to decide all this stuff. You can rest assured, though, that Tennessee is one of the 8 or 9 teams in this league that are chasing a playoff spot. Matt Dixon's right. You got to put Mississippi in that, in the schools that are serious about it. They spend serious money in the transfer portal. Lane Kiffin, say what you want to say about him. He's kind of a clown online. The guy's serious on the recruiting trail. Now, they don't get players out of high school. They never will. But he cherry picks around the edges, and some years it works, and some years it doesn't. Some years it's somewhere in the middle. And last year, if they would have taken care of Kentucky, they could have been in the playoff last year. But they couldn't take care of Kentucky because that's what this league is. This league is difficult. Tennessee learned that the year they were tracking at the very, very tippy top of the sport when Hendon Hooker was at the height of his powers. And they went over, and Sean said he'd never seen anything like it. He called the Garza Law fifth quarter fan reaction that night and said, I feel like I was just watching something in the Twilight Zone. That's what this league does to you. This league is a very humbling thing to try and get through the gauntlet. Even easy schedules or easier schedules are difficult. So we'll talk about that. I mean, last year Tennessee had a sleepy game at Arkansas and got beat. And Arkansas is not a team in this league that's contending for a playoff spot annually. They are not. Sean, do we agree on that? They are not. They're not playing that game. They're trying to win championships in baseball, and they're spending money in basketball. They are not a team in football trying to get to a playoff, Sean. Do we agree there?
I think they have other priorities. And, as we talked earlier, and I said, I agree. I totally agree that a bounce back, regardless of who's our quarterback. And then I started looking into our schedule. You take your lumps against Georgia. Most teams will. But the rest of that schedule, it kind of looks like last year's Indiana schedule.
Yep.
I mean, look, no offense to anybody, but, you got a bunch of 50-50 games, and then you got some Humpties, and then you got Georgia. So if you think your system is all that, this team should be in the playoffs.
Indiana,
and the only reason they wouldn't be in the playoffs with this schedule, again, no disrespect to any of these teams, but this schedule's a joke.
Oh, it's an opportunity.
You give a schedule to Ole Miss, and they're making plans to go to the playoffs. This is the easiest schedule I can remember Tennessee ever playing in the SEC right now.
It's an absolute opportunity. It's a shame the quarterback walked out of here because I don't believe in that quarterback, but it would have been very, very, very interesting to see what they could have done with him. And again, I don't believe in him. I don't believe he was going to take the next step. I did not believe in him once I saw it. When you look in this deal, when you can't process, and you can't process, and I didn't do it. So That's just me. I wish that kid well, and I hope he saves his money. We're going to come back. Watson Brown's going to join us, and then we're going to get some calls in. We're going to go through Phil Steele's ratings. He's got Penn State #1 in America. We're going to do a buy-sell trade on several of these schools. We're going to talk about some SEC schools, some teams on Tennessee's schedule. For instance, Oklahoma's in a make-or-break year. They do not want to fire their coach. They're an extremely proud place. They will fire their coach, though. He has them #9 in America. They come here. Now, I'm going to give you a little hint to the other side. I'm selling that. Here's the thing, though. Selling it for what? Mike Huguenin had a good point. Somebody's got to finish 9. See, that's why it would have been really interesting against Tennessee's schedule. Because Sean was talking about Indiana last year. Here's the thing Indiana did. They went out and scored everybody. They got Nathan Rourke. They were throwing the deep ball. They were bombs away. And then when they played Ohio State, they looked like they didn't belong. But that was okay because they got into the playoff anyway. Why? Because they won the rest of them. See, Tennessee right now, some don't want to deal with this. That's fine. Tennessee's got a built-in loss in their schedule. It's called the Georgia Bulldogs. And by the way, I didn't do it. Like Matt Dixon yesterday, we had a couple people this week have said, well, you know, you got the thing with the playoff all wrong. Tennessee would have beaten SMU, which I do think Tennessee would have walked the dog on SMU last year. They would have beaten them like they were mad at them. That SMU team that played at Penn State that was kind of blinked in the moment would have gotten hammered by our bunch. Hammered. Tennessee would have sacked that quarterback. They would have turned the ball over, turned him over 4 or 5 times. They'd have beaten them like they were absolutely mad at him. They were not beating Georgia the next week. I love that we have a narrative that we could have gotten to the national semifinal. No, we couldn't have. No, actually, no. And that's okay that you think that. And I used to magically think at one time, but, you know, the rainbow ain't going to come down and ain't going to carry you away because you don't have their ball players. And go look at the NFL draft. I'm not here to bear bad news. But Matt made a good point yesterday, which is schematically, like Tennessee was way better in that SMU team. Georgia's a lot better than we are. That's the only built-in loss you have on your schedule, like Sean said. If you want to do the Indiana to Ohio State thing, the rest of those games this year are very winnable. Oklahoma at home, Syracuse down there. That McCord kid's gone. You should walk the dog on Syracuse. I mean, with Nico, you would think, right? I would think that. That Oklahoma bunch, they went out and spent in the offseason. They did what I wanted us to do. They were hungry. They said, hey, we got an issue. We're going to solve our issues. We're going to go for this thing. And this Mateer guy, you know, he was gettable. The thing was, though, you had to bring as a sweetener, they brought his offensive coordinator in, and you have to admit you need help to bring an offensive coordinator in. So, I mean, to me, it is what it is. But Sean's right. I'm a football player guy. People want to praise Nick Saban. How great of a coach was Nick Saban in the NFL when all was equal? You know what Nick Saban knew? He knew they praise me and they worship and love me because I have better football players than you do. And by the way, every moment that I'm not coaching, I'm going to spend collecting as many players as I can. And by the way, when I get 5-star players on my team, I'm going to try and recruit over them. That's the first thing I'm doing. I get a 5-star defensive end, I'm going to find me somebody better. I accused Nick Saban, and rightfully so, of ruining college football when he was in it. Of being a guy who it was never good enough for him. We have a baseball coach like that who's beating every bush right now. Perfect example, the kid from MIT that Sean just looked up. Many of you, when Tennessee took a commitment from that kid, said, what in the world are we doing taking a baseball player from MIT? He went out and threw the 3rd highest velo in a combine. That's what we're doing taking him. That's what we're doing taking him. Point is this. we collectively, as a sports society, want to worship coaches. Let me tell you something. It's always been about players. Always. Why do you think Florida cut him down in basketball this year? Because the guy's a great coach. Guy's a great advanced scout. If you're on that campus around noon today, getting a nice stroll in, he's a great advanced scout. They won because they had the best team. Maury Hanks says when you get down to it, in the postseason, in basketball, the thing those guys always say to each other in those NBA circles are, who has the most pros? You don't think Rick Barnes knows that? You don't think Rick Barnes knows that with what they've done here, spending $4 million on one player, that he went out and sought privately? He knows that. He knows that. It's all about players. You know why the Florida Panthers last night beat the two of the most freakish athletes in Edmonton I've ever seen? This Leon Draisaitl guy and Connor McDavid are two freaks, because they had about 30 of them on their roster. And they're mean and nasty, and they hit and they smash people into the ground, and they could also play. And they have a goalie my Flyers gave away, and Bobrovsky 15 years ago, who's going to go to the NHL Hall of Fame in true Philly fandom fashion. So we'll take a brief timeout. Watson Brown joins the fray. Do we buy? Do we sell? Do we trade? For instance, Penn State at 1, Clemson at number 2. I'm going to tell you something. I think that's a fair rating for Clemson. Like Sean said, 0 schedule. Now, they play one of the biggie boys early in the year. They have an SEC, ACC tilt early in the season. Notre Dame at 3. Texas is the lone SEC team at 4. And then the team we saw last year, who's a lot different. I mean, I think they lost like a dozen guys to the NFL, Ohio State. Let me tell you something up there. Fake Butch Jones, Bearded Butch. Bearded Butch is another guy. They get up every day, and they're trying to recruit right over their 5-star players. Because that is what this thing's about. As we continue with more on the other side, we'll get Watson Brown in on our TLD Logistics hotline as we continue with more after this.
Are you wanting to raise money for mission trips or summer camps for your church? Fundraising just got easier. I'm Billy with Grade A Grounds, and we partner with churches to raise money through custom-labeled coffee. It's fresh, local, and gives back. Start today at our website, gradeagrounds.com.
Life never stops moving. And between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to Grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up. A tire designed for doers. A tire that's going to last. Like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect, you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting to your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire.
Jeff Hall here. I'm a partner at Rather & Kittrell Capital Management. And here at Rather & Kittrell, we understand that life is full of transitions. Since 2000, our team of dedicated certified financial planners has been helping individuals, families, and businesses navigate these changes with confidence. From comprehensive wealth management to tailored retirement plans, we're committed to guiding you toward a secure financial future. Ready to take the next step? Visit rkcapital.com or call us at 865-218-8400 to start your journey today. Rather & Kittrell is a registered investment advisor.
Summer officially starts this month, and the last thing you want during sweltering heat is a broken air conditioner or HVAC system. That means it's more important than ever to keep you and your family comfortable and safe before extreme Tennessee temperatures arrive. Don't ignore the warning signs that your AC is struggling or nearing the end of its lifespan. And if you need emergency HVAC repairs, routine preventative maintenance, or want to invest in a new system, then call the trusted HVAC experts at Pipe Wrench Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. This month, get up to a $1,000 discount when you buy and install a new air conditioner or HVAC system. We make it easy with free on-site estimates for replacements and free second opinions on repairs. And if budgets are tight, we offer flexible payment plans including 0% financing with credit approval. Be sure to ask about our 10-plus year warranties that are 2 times longer than industry standards, so you don't spend a cent on unexpected costs in the future. So call Pipe Wrench at 865-264-8090 or book online at pipewrench.com to schedule your appointment today.
Out-of-town law firms have been swarming into East Tennessee lately. From Memphis, Chattanooga, and Birmingham, they've stormed into the area. Wouldn't you rather do business with a local firm? You know, a true neighbor. Marcos Garza and the pros at the Garza Law Firm are just that. There are neighbors and friends that support local causes year-round. The Garza Law Firm works to serve you professionally on criminal matters, injuries and accident matters, and Social Security and disability filings. The Garza Law Firm is here for you at garzalaw.com. The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Are you stuck in a dead-end job or ready for a new challenge? Do you feel like it's time to try a new career? Well, it's time to change lanes with TLD Logistics. My friends at TLD Logistics have some really exciting opportunities for you to learn a new skill. With a new 5-acre driving academy that's now under new leadership with all new course material. And the best part, it's absolutely free. What a great deal to set you on the road to higher pay. And TLD Logistics even offers weekly stipends to offset food and gas expenses. In 6 weeks' time, you could complete this course and be in compliance with FMCSA regulations. Then you're ready for the open road of opportunity. What are you waiting for? It's time to change lanes with TLD Logistics. Visit tldlogistics.com. That's tldlogistics.com. TLD Logistics.
A lime is not always just a lime. You see, some limes are lucky. For when a lime joins the salted rim of a crisp, refreshing Tres Dos Equis, that lime is no longer a mere lime, but a wedge of renowned Mexican limón. Muchas gracias, limón. And also, de nada. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2024 Dos Equis, imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
Hi there, Basilio crew. Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. If you're thinking about selling your home, I've got good news for you. The East Tennessee and Knoxville areas are projected to have another strong year. I'll be happy to talk with you about the latest and greatest info you need. So give me a call at 865-694-5904 or contact me at nextmovesmokymountains.com. Hope to hear from you soon and go Vols.
Josh Collins at Collins Insurance Agency. At Collins Insurance, we strive to ensure our customers receive better coverage along with bigger savings. Our community is important to us. We want to provide exceptional service to our customers. Anybody can provide great rates, great coverage, but can you also get great service? And hey, don't just take my word for it.
What's up, everybody? Zakai Ziegler here. My family turns to Collins Insurance Agency for the best service, coverage, and price.
So don't just go online and get some random insurance. Experience the Collins Insurance difference.
Like he said, experience the Collins Insurance difference. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. And hey, their Mama Zizi approved. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. Thank you to Josh Collins and Zizi.
One more thing, Tony. Go Vols!
Preparing food for a big gathering can really take it out of you. That's why you need to call Calhoun's and check out their selection of party platters. Whether you're hosting a party for the big game, a reunion, or just an everyday gathering, a Calhoun's party platter is next level. Choose from Calhoun's always excellent chicken tenders, fly with Calhoun's wings, or boneless wings with a variety of dipping sauces, award-winning next-level melt-in-your-mouth barbecue ribs, or delicious spinach artichoke dip, or get one of each. Plus, if you're doing burgers or sandwiches, Calhoun's Calhoun's has lots of side dishes like spinach Maria, baked cinnamon apples, Smoky Mountain baked beans, or creamy coleslaw. Available in pints, quarts, and gallons. And to finish things off, pick up one of Calhoun's great desserts to go, including homemade cheesecake or key lime pie. Calhoun's, simply your go-to party headquarters. With 9 locations all over East Tennessee, you can order online and just pick it up. Calhoun's, one of the Copper Cellar family of restaurants, along with Chesapeake's, Copper Cellar, Corner 16, Cherokee Grill, and Smoky Mountain Brewery. Eat local, eat good. Tony B back with you. It is, ladies and gentlemen, a Wednesday, and that can only mean one thing besides our Rather and Kittrell Capital Management World Champs Wednesday, that we get to celebrate for another week until a new one is crowned next week. And by the way, LSU and Arkansas are going to have an interesting little fight to the finish to see who comes out of that to see if Arkansas, if anybody can get up and come out of that loser bracket, it's that Arkansas bunch if they hit the baseball. But Watson Brown today, who I love, is presented by our friends at Simpson's Meats, a beef brand built on quality, raising, sourcing their meat on farms from pasture on purpose, comfortably continuing a tradition that began in 1888 on Jim Simpson's farm. And I've had a couple people email me who took us up on our offer. I'm sure many did, but a few have reached out and said, Tony, I asked for that for Father's Day. We threw some steak on the grill, and I've never had anything like it. Yoshi ho ho. To our friends at Simpson's Meats, whether it's steaks, burgers, sausages, roast chicken, variety of local offerings at their butcher shop, located off Level Road in West Knoxville. Watson Brown, I bring you in. We've got a lot to chew on today, so to speak. And when it comes to your steak, Watson, are you a guy when you cut the fatty ends off, do you eat that? Or do you discard of that? Because I've known people that enjoy that piece of the steak as well.
I don't get rid of that, babe.
That's old school right there.
That's part of the fried meat.
That's old school. That's it right there. My man Watson Brown in the hunt and in the mix with us.
Tony, do you remember the commercial that was it Lay's? They just, I bet you can't eat just one. Wasn't it Lay's or what ship company would?
I don't know. I like that though.
That's
bet
what I
can't
say
eat
about
just
Simpsons
one.
Meats. You can't just eat just one. You won't do it. You'll have to go pack. That's what I tell you. Can't eat just one.
The great Watson Brown on the TLD Logistics guest line. Watson, I sent you the ratings that Phil Steele has laid down. Before we drill down on the ratings, let's talk about college football globally. So we had Mike Hugan on a couple weeks ago, and we were looking at one of these, top 10s. And I was reading, I was thinking it was the ESPN FPI, which is some convoluted computer system computer ranking deal that's way over my head. But one thing that Mike Hugan had stopped me, and he said, where are the great teams? He said, wow, this year in college football feels wide open. And I take you to Phil Steele's top 5 as proof of this, Watson. But before I do that, where are the quarterbacks in the SEC? I know Tennessee has a quarterback issue because their guy walked out the door in the spring. And what has happened to quarterback play in college football?
I started off the air on this. I'm a firm believer that you bring a new guy in and he rushes and he gets maybe spring practice, maybe he doesn't, and then you go play games. And it's just, I just think the good ones in the old days were there. They played 2, 3, 4 years, and they got better every year as they go. And those days are gone, man. They're gone. And that's why I think you're getting inconsistent quarterback play in a lot of ways, and good games, bad games, especially early in the year. Maybe late they settle, but then you look at them through the whole year and how they played. You're saying, he was inconsistent. He just didn't live up to it. That was my gripe with Nico. Nico, such bad advice. this should have been his year because he got a full year of playing. I compared it to Hendon. Go back and look at Hendon's first year compared to his second year. Night and day, man. It wasn't even close. He was so much better. And they're bringing these guys in. I see where Oklahoma's ranked up there because of the quarterback they brought in. How good's he going to play? I mean, it's all new. I know that coach came with him, and that does help that. That does help that. That's what happened at Vanderbilt. The coach came with the quarterback, and that let him come in the summer, but he'd already ran this stuff. So that's why I think Pavia was a better player because he was running the system he's run. He had run that same system for 2 years. And these kids coming in and they're brand new to something, and that is so hard to do, Tony. It's so hard to learn the system. You can't learn it on a board. You start on a board and you memorize and you do this and you do that, but then you got to go execute it in 2.5 seconds, and that takes time, and that's what I think's happened to college quarterbacks.
You know, Nico's class we were looking at the other day. I want to say of the top 9 guys in that class, I think 8 of them are at different schools, and Arch Manning is the one that's at Texas. You know, he's the one that's kind of stuck around. And the truth be told, if he didn't have that Manning money and that Manning name, he might have gotten antsy and gotten out of there last year. Truth be told, if that was Tony Basilio's son, you know, he might have gotten antsy and said, "Hey, why am I not playing?" Right? You know, and I'm not going to get an opportunity here, and he might have been on the move.
Yeah, I mean, but he didn't, and that's why I think he'll have a good, solid year because this isn't new to him. And I just believe the ones that got good ones coming back are the ones that are rated higher, and if you don't have one coming back, you get bumped down a little bit. And whether that's right or wrong, because I'm not a ratings guy at the start of the year.
Yeah,
I'm just not, because I've seen way too many times what you go back and look at what they said at the start and how it finishes. It's very seldom exactly what you see. I think it's even worse now, Tony, because there's so many new faces on every team. I don't know how in the world you do that.
Is the sport better?
So many 40, 50 new faces on a team.
Well,
and I'm not talking about freshmen coming in to be redshirted. I'm talking about transfers coming in that are playing.
Hey, Watson, the sport's more of a spectacle now than it's ever been, and it's always been a spectacle. But now with this off-season, a quick fix deal, is the sport better? Like, is the football better, or are we seeing, compared to past years, substandard football because of all the change? And I think about people like you tell me that offensive linemen that shuffle around, they don't have a chance to develop. These guys are just plugging them in and block the guy in front of you. It's not as intricate as it once was. It can't be. You're plugging too many guys in.
What I see, Tony, is I think the poorer teams are better because they're getting quick fixes and with money that they didn't have, and they couldn't even talk to some of the kids. Now that they got money, they can talk to that kid because it's the number one thing the kid's looking for. That's number one. I think the better teams aren't as good because the better teams, to me, have gone too far in the transfer portal. The Georgias, the Alabamas of the world, they're not as deep into it. They live on that freshman class recruiting and keep them there. And the ones that are trying to go the portal too quick, the better teams, I don't think are as good.
You know, we were talking about those quarterbacks. I'm going to give you a name from the past I just looked up because I wanted to make sure I had this. But guys like this don't exist now. But there was once a guy when I was a kid named Steve Bono. Steve Bono played at UCLA. Steve Bono at UCLA completed 177 passes and went on and was a 6th-round pick in the NFL draft because they liked something about him, and went on and played for about 10 years. Actually played 14 years in the NFL. Yep. Here's the point. The point is the guy sat there for 5 seasons at UCLA and threw 100 and some odd passes. In other words, he had a cup of coffee there. And there were examples of him and guys years past of guys that were on these rosters. A guy like him today, Watson, never develops. He's at 3 different schools, and who knows if he gets drafted. That's kind of where we are, right?
Yes, that's what I'm saying exactly. It's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. I can take myself in the late 60s and early 70s and played as a sophomore, started as a sophomore, but going into my junior year, I could have called the plays myself. I mean, that's how much further along I was in 1 year of starting and going into the next year. Then I get hurt third game in and never played anymore. But I can vividly remember that, how much better I felt, how much more confidence I had from 1 year starting and having the good plays and the bad plays but running the same plays again the next year, Tony. And these kids are now coming in and they're learning new systems. And the guy at Tennessee, I mean, he has to be a good player because he's learning a brand new system. And I think that's really hard to do, man. And a lot of them are good enough to pull it off, but they would have been better if they had been there another year. You'll never convince me of that any different. And it's going to be interesting to watch Alabama because I sit off there to you. I think Alabama will be the surprise. I think Alabama is going to play better at quarterback this year than last because this young man's been there. Now, it's different systems, but he's been there, and he's been in this system now. This is the second year in this system, and Ty Simpson. And I think he's going to have a heck of a year because he's hung around. He's a mature kid.
Fourth-year kid.
He's seen the goods and the bad.
Yep.
And I just bet, I know that's still a quarterback battle, but I think he's going to be the guy, and I think Alabama will be better on offense this year than they were last.
Hey, Sean, correct me if I'm wrong. Ty Simpson, Harrison, and that Bailey kid, aren't they like the same class? Isn't this a high veteran player? Like, he's got to be 22 years old, doesn't he, Ty Simpson?
This should be his third year of college, I believe.
Yeah, so he'd be 21.
21, 22, yeah. So, all right, let's go through this list. So he's got Alabama, Phil Steele does, at 7 in America, finishing 7. Watson, are you buying, selling, or trading that?
No, I'll keep that one.
Okay.
I think they're top 10. I'm not going to place them too high yet, but I'm going to put them in the top 10.
Sean, what do you think? Alabama, Cinco, number 7 in America. Buying, selling, or trading, Sean?
I think I'm going to sell that.
Okay.
I could see 10 to 13.
Okay.
Well, let me correct this.
Yeah.
I misspoke. Ty Simpson, this will be his 4th year in college.
That's what I thought. Yeah. I thought he was an older kid. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. So I asked because I didn't know, but it's kind of what Watson talks about. Look, the sport of college football is cheering for a kid like that to have a lot of success because here's what's happened. You have this kid that left Auburn and went to the left coast and had all this success. The more kids see of that, the more kids in that position are getting in the portal. They need some of these guys that have kind of hung around to have success so coaches can go, hey, you can be the next Ty Simpson. Don't leave here. Don't give up on us, baby. David Soul, 1977. Watson, so we got a buy. We have one buy, one sell on Alabama. Cinco thinks are a little worse. Big Game James Watson, they call him at Penn State. Penn State begins the season number 1 in America, a veteran quarterback that decided to come back, a veteran quarterback who at times last year flashed all-world talent and yet at times flashed the propensity to spontaneously combust with a very talented defense. They do have issues at linebacker, but everybody has issues. What do you think of Penn State, Watson, at number 1 in America?
I don't think that. Losing the pass rusher they lost, losing that tight end who I thought might have been as good a player as there was in the country. I just don't think those two guys will be replaced. I think they're top 10. I don't think they're number 1. Don't think they'll be number 1.
Sean Sinclair, you buying, selling, or trading Penn State at number 1?
No, I don't think number 1 because he's a good recruiter, but he's a good developer. Seemingly, he will always have a offense, defense, lineman, linebacker, or DB in the first round. but I do not think he recruits enough elite players to be the best team in the country.
Moving along, Watson, number 2 on this list is a guy who has sneakily hung around in a league that's going to allow him some runway. And preseason, Phil Steele has the Clemson Tigers at number 2, and I love that quarterback. Now, some people have argued with me and have said that could have been what Nico was going to be if he would have come back. Personally, I don't see that, but I didn't see it in Cade Klubnik last year until they surrounded him with some offensive talent, and they put some wide receivers around him last year, and that freaking guy was really good last year. Clemson at number 2, Watson, buying, selling, or trading?
That one is the two-way with me. I would say I'm going to leave them there because it's all about players you got and who you play,
yep,
and where and when you play them. You've got to really study schedules.
Yep.
And Clemson's in the best league to be up there in the top 5. So I'm going to leave them there, but I think when the playoffs start, I don't think will be the second best team in the country.
To your point, that is an excellent distinction to make. So Clemson as a team to end up number 2 at the end of the year, heading into the postseason, is probably not a bad play, because the one game of turbulence when you look down at their schedule that they have is they open with LSU on August 30. And look, that is a game that they're playing in their building. It's going to be sweaty, sticky, hot. Of course, that's the stuff LSU practices into. Their kids are acclimated to that. But it's almost like, and those people on the Bayou don't like this, but it's Brian Kelly's regularly scheduled Labor Day defeat. I mean, that is a new tradition at LSU. You got Mardi Gras in February, and you've got Brian Kelly going out and starting the season 0-1, because they continue to play these games, Watson. I don't understand why they continue to play them. I guess I give them credit for continuing to play them. But I do not see LSU, even with that nice quarterback, that veteran quarterback, and they've got a pretty good team, and they were really active in the portal. I don't see LSU going in there and winning, Watson, in week 1. Do you?
No, I don't. And I think LSU will be there at the end. I do. I think they're a playoff team this year, finally, if they stay healthy, and their defense, I think, will be better. And the quarterback's got a year under his belt. So they're going to be a good offensive team if they'll just learn to run the ball a little better. But I don't think they're going to beat Clemson early. Too many new faces. The quarterbacks kind of balance each other out, in my opinion, and I just think Clemson will beat them, and LSU will give up points.
How about it, Sean? We were throwing dirt on Dabo. He wouldn't get involved in the portal. He has. He's now seen the error of his ways. I give Dabo credit on that. He was wrong, but he didn't stay wrong. So he's gotten into the portal. They've at least tipped their toe in it and addressed a few needs. He hasn't gone like hog wild or pig crazy. But, Sean, they're number 2 in America for the Clemson Tigers. You buying, selling, or trading. And, by the way, they get past that LSU game, Sean, and it is like being at 20,000 feet with zero turbulence. And we could fly intercontinental, brother.
I don't know about number 2, certainly top 5. I think that, look, they have a built-in advantage of their conference.
Yep.
Miami's spending money. But on the other side, Florida State is tanking and just had to revisit a whole roster. I'm sure they have some other play, but no, they will. Their biggest challenge is going to be that they will likely not be consistently tested. If I could digress just a moment,
yep.
Coach said that you have to really study the schedules, and just for a moment, if I can go back to Alabama. Now, they start off with Florida State. That shouldn't be a big challenge. Louisiana Monroe shouldn't be a big challenge. And then Eastern Illinois should not be a big challenge. But here's the rest of their schedule. And I'm not talking about can they win all these games. I'm talking about the cumulative effect of the rest of the schedule. After Monroe, they will play Wisconsin, Georgia, Vanderbilt. We can sneeze at Vanderbilt, but look what happened last year. And there's a lot of talk there. There'll be a lot of emotion in Tuscaloosa about paying them back. Missouri, again, they may be up and down. Tennessee, South Carolina with Lenoris, or whatever his name,
Sellers, nice player.
LSU, Oklahoma, you sneak Eastern Illinois, and then Auburn with Jackson Arnold. So, certainly there are 3 games that are built-in wins. We have those games too. But I'll take our conference schedule with Arkansas, Kentucky. We match with Vandy, Mississippi State. This is a thing with a new quarterback. I don't think they've recruited well, but they haven't recruited Saban well. I think this could be very much a grind for Alabama this year. And hearing those teams coach, I'd like your opinion on that with Alabama, because there are a lot of teams that have invested a lot. Oklahoma, Auburn, LSU, Georgia, et cetera, et cetera. Those teams are coming to win.
Oh, absolutely. That's why I think you stay in the top 10, Sean, sometimes with a couple of losses, because who did you lose to in the SEC? It's 2 SEC teams usually, or whatever. And that's why I got Alabama in the top 10, but not any higher at all, because that's tough. And if they come out of that with 2 losses out of the 8 conference games, if they come out with 2, they go 6-2, they'll still be in the top 10, in my opinion.
Next on the list is none other than the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, who Freeman, heading into his 4th season, when he was hired there, people thought, oh my gosh, what in the world have they done? But he coached his guys up. Watson, I give him credit, and he's recruited pretty darn well. Now, Granted, in this era, they've got a lot of money to spend. They don't have a conference to split their TV money with, which really helps them. And he does nice.
Their schedule's never a killer.
Their schedule's not a killer like it used to be.
That's
right.
Killer. It
That's
ain't
right.
SEC.
That's right. And as long as college football, letting them have a seat at this table and welcoming them in, while Sean talks about the fact that Alabama has to beat themselves into the ground. Tennessee next year is probably going to have a brutal schedule when we see that from the league, and they go to their next iteration, whatever it's going to look like. We knew we were in a 2-year period here, but look, Notre Dame doesn't have that. Notre Dame gets to kind of pick and choose.
Yeah, and their toughest away game, Arkansas.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
I mean, that tells you right there.
Yes.
That tells you right there that, and I might have missed somebody. I don't have their schedule in front of me.
I'm going to pull it up.
I think schedule keeps them up there. I wouldn't keep them. Where are they, 3 or 4?
They're third.
They're third.
They're third.
I don't think that. I just don't think that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they'll stay there.
The
quarterback last year was so big.
Coach, you were right about their schedule. Their schedule is very name brand driven, but not on the field
compared to that Alabama
quality.
They open with that
the one you just went with at Alabama.
Oh yeah, it's 2 different worlds. It's 2 different worlds. That's why and Phil Steele, when we have him on, will say that these guys that do this for a living and try to prognosticate, and these guys in Vegas that go with the win totals. Hey man, the win totals are about who you play, when you play, and where you play. Who, when, and where. Who, when, and where. Who is that team coming off that's getting ready to play you? Are you a sandwich game? Are you a in thin air game? Are you a game after a brutal week for somebody and you can sneak up and, hey, we kind of project that you can get them there? Yeah. Notre Dame plays, they open the season with Miami there. Then they have Texas A&M, to Sean's point. Looks great on a resume. They play them at home. They play that Purdue bunch. Shout out Bob Baskerville. They can't play. They play the Arkansas Razorbacks in Arkansas. That is going to be a noon start, an 11 a.m. start local time. That's an anything can happen game. Tennessee got sucked into that vortex last year. But Notre Dame shouldn't have a problem with that. Then they have Boise. They have NC State. Sean, we can talk about this. They host USC. What about our guy at USC, Sean? It just has not happened for him there. Even though he makes splashes in recruiting, Sean, at USC.
No, it hasn't. I thought that was a better path for him, given his Heisman production, given his offensive production, and given the fact that, with all due respect, USC should dominate recruiting west of the Mississippi.
Oh.
I mean, give it to Texas, Oklahoma, here and there, but USC should have the pick of the litter from the West Coast.
If you're doing that deal right, with that alumni, those uniforms, that tradition, Watson, if you're doing that deal right, come on now.
Well, till he fixes his defense, until he decides to run the ball more, it ain't gonna happen. He's very good in the passing game. He's tricky. He comes up with different ways to get a big play here and there. But you've got to play with a quarterback, and you've got to be able to run the ball when you need to, and you've got to play defense. He has two of those three. I don't think he's done up to near the USC caliber yet.
You know, it's ironic. They fired Josh Heupel for him at Oklahoma.
Yep.
And Josh Heupel has an offense that you would look at and go, hey, that's similar. Josh Heupel, because they run the ball out of his system more than people think, is always going to have a higher floor than that guy, Watson, for the reason you just talked about.
And Josh got fired for not because of the offense. They had to change something.
It's political.
And it was political, and so I don't even want to go there. That's part of the game. That's part of the business. We all understand it. But the offense under Josh there was not bad at all. Not at all.
Watson, can you hang there as we continue to unpack this, presented by our friends at Simpson's Meats? Do you have time?
Absolutely.
Stay right there. Hour number 2 commences. We'll continue to unpack this top 25. Sean, this is a fun exercise to think about the upcoming season. We're going off Phil Steele's rankings. So far, we have a buy, we have a sell, we have a trade. Hour number 2, ladies and gentlemen, is through the windshield on the other side after this.
WJBE, 1040 AM, 99.7 FM.
Translator W259AB.
Powell, Knoxville.
Are you searching for a great local coffee? I'm Billy with Grade A Grounds. You can buy our freshly roasted coffee online and support a good cause with every sip. Great coffee, greater causes. Visit our website today, gradeagrounds.com.
It's the hottest post-game show on the planet. Garza Law, fifth quarter fan reaction. Fan reaction. As soon as the final gun sounds, we're live.
Tony Basilio, and we are live once again with Chad Stockton of FC Alliance. And Chad, you're out there on the field, 100 strong here in Knoxville. Talk to me. What's been going on with FC Alliance now that the weather's heating up?
We're out here for the first night of the boys' tryouts. We have over 400 kids that'll be here tonight. So a lot of exciting times right now for us. Our club teams start at U9 and we go all the way through U19. We have over 1,000 kids that come from Chattanooga from the Tri-Cities that make all our teams and make this club what it is today. So we're excited about it. We finished the younger kids a couple of weeks ago. We just finished the girls last night, and now we're on to our older boys program as we speak right now.
And we're blowing and going in the Tri-Cities. Tell me about it.
We started FC Alliance North 1 year ago, and coming off the first year, we're the largest, most competitive club up in the Tri-Cities area. We just finished our tryouts last night. Looks like right now we will be well over 400 kids for the upcoming season. So great things happening up there. We've put our boys into some really good regional leagues. So we're excited about what the future holds for them and also our girls programs.
If you want more information, check them out at fcallianceknox.org. That's fcallianceknox.org. Chad Stockton, keep growing the beautiful game here in East Tennessee.
Absolutely. Thanks, Tony.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Listen up, baseball fans. It's time to step up to the plate and get some new Tennessee gear from Alumni Hall. Don't you dare swing and miss by shopping elsewhere. Alumni Hall has the best selection, top brands for you to choose from. Shop in store, 3 Knoxville locations, or Bristol or Murfreesboro. Anytime online, anywhere in the world at alumnihall.com. Come grab your Tennessee baseball jerseys. Incredible. Oh, Coach Vitello's jersey, hats, decals, t-shirts, and so much more. Earn $10 in rewards for every $150 spent. Shop Alumni Hall, your ultimate Tennessee shopping destination. Go Vols from Alumni Hall. Tony Basilio along with the great Mark Griffin. And we're here to talk about our friends at Performance Medicine. And Griff, their slogan, stay educated, stay healthy. That's you.
Wow. I really like to think that, Tony, and I'd like to give Dr. Rogers a lot of credit because I definitely want to stay educated and healthy, and knowing that he's putting the time and effort in to make sure of my care, I want to encourage your listeners to put the time to learn and become educated and get to know Dr. Rogers and see if it can help with your health as well.
And there's a really, really easy way to do that. In fact, they've got their own YouTube channel. You can see Dr. Rogers for himself with his staff. It's called The Performance Medicine Show over at the Performance Medicine channel over on YouTube. Also, more information at performancemedicine.net. To our friends in North Knoxville, a brand new location over in Fountain City, now accepting patients. So many ways to reach Dr. Rogers. And like they say, stay educated, stay healthy. Performance Medicine, online, performancemedicine.net. TB here for Cedar Bluff Plumbing, a live and local company that's been serving our area for over 32 years and counting because every customer counts, and I mean no job is too small. Cedar Bluff Plumbing just voted #1 by City View magazine because multiple plumbing experts are on call to serve all your plumbing needs. Chances are there'll be a plumber in your area when you call, and they won't send some salesman to your house. You're going to get a high character, trustworthy, highly trained plumber who will serve you, not like some of these guys that look like they came off the set of America's Most Wanted. Cedar Bluff Plumbing is Basilio tested and approved and will go the extra mile for you because Chucky Mack is a servant of the people and my consigliere to the throne, celebrating over 32 years of serving living volunteers. Cedar Bluff Plumbing. Call 588-4448. That's 588-4448. Cedar Bluff Plumbing.
Attention Vol fans, are you tired of complicated, clunky fleet technology that makes your job harder? Say goodbye to frustration and hello to Connexial, your hometown partner in logistics. It's time to rev up your operations with next level fleet management from Connexial. Connexial is here to keep your business on track with technology that works as hard as you do. Our game-changing ELD gives you more than just hours of service. With AI-powered dash cameras and real-time asset tracking, you'll have eyes on the road, cargo, and your fleet from anywhere, anytime. And the best part, our friendly US-based customer support team is just one phone call away. No more long wait times or frustrating tech talk. Just real people with real solutions. With Connexial, you get a professional team you can trust and easy-to-use products that keep you on the road. What do you say, Tony?
I'm ready. Make the smart move and call Connexial today.
865-888-6920. Learn more at Connexial.com. That's Konexial.com. Drive life with Connexial and go Vols.
Basilio here, and you know my friends at Carnes Motor Company started with a dream over a quarter century ago. I met Rob and Brian back when I still had hair, and they were working at a huge dealership in West Knoxville. But they told me back then they wanted to sell cars on their terms, and I wanted to do radio on my terms. Their terms, just like my terms, are ultimately your terms. In both cases, you're the winner. A Car Guru's National Award winner with a 5-star rating on all sites, just like our Vols. Everything about buying a car from Carnes Motor Company is no hassle. They specialize in high-quality pre-owned vehicles between the $5,000 to $25,000 range. And if you need to sell a car, they'll either buy your car or they'll help you sell it. Carnes Motor Company also has a top-notch service department. Therefore, every vehicle is rigorously inspected and serviced prior to delivery, so you're guaranteed to get a quality, pre-owned vehicle every time. If you need a place for service, they've got you covered. Come be a part of the Carnes Motor Company family and tell them you heard about it from B. Online at carnesmotor.com, Oak Ridge Highway, 1 mile past the Carnes light. Carnes Motor Company.
Yeehaw! Some people say betting online is still the wild, wild west. But with the VIP Play app, you're riding with the best. VIP Play app is hotter than a $2 pistol packed with flair. Live hosts and features finer than a frog hair. Send your old betting problems out of town with a slap. You'll be betting sharp as a tack on the VIP Play app.
Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
Download VIP Play today or head to VIPPlayApp.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-88-99789. Must be 21 plus and located in Tennessee to bet.
Jeff Hall here. I'm a partner at Rather & Kittrell Capital Management. Life is full of transitions. Planning for retirement, managing investments, or navigating major life changes. Here at Rather & Kittrell, we're here to guide you through every step. Visit rkcapital.com or call 865-218-8400 to start your journey toward financial clarity today. Rather & Kittrell is a registered investment advisor.
Watson Brown stays with us for another segment, who just blows my mind how great he is. And I love him, and I appreciate him. And stay safe out there with that rain around us. The one thing about recently in East Tennessee is it never rains. I really hope that at some point we get some rain around here. Watson Brown, presented by our friends at Simpson's Meats. Steaks make a great gift. Gift box is available. Premium meats can be shipped anywhere in the world at simpsonsmeats.com. Check out their store as well in West Knoxville off Lovell Road, and shop today. Watson, a point you and I were talking about off the air that you wanted to introduce into this conversation as we think about the upcoming season and just sort of project ahead is what?
Tony, I've always thought the number one thing was to be lucky, and you got to be lucky. Everybody thinks I'm talking about the ball bounces. No, I'm talking about injury. And you have a bunch of injuries, or you have a big one or two injuries to certain people you just can't lose. Your whole team changes on the spot. That's why I've never been big on these early things. And I've always thought the SEC have been lucky in so many ways. The better team been healthy through brutal schedules.
Yes.
And watch Georgia and Alabama in the last few years. And but man, you start having those certain injuries, Tony, and it changes everything.
And Sean, one of the things about this era, and a point Watson was telling me off the air, which is really really something to consider, okay, for everybody involved, is back in the day, Sean, when you could stack offensive linemen, guys that could help you, guys that could play. These guys now know what's on each other's rosters. So the amount of quality backups that are there and ready on the call for everybody, Sean, especially the top teams that we're mainly focusing on here, aren't like they used to be. You get a tackle or two injured, and you're in big trouble all of a sudden, even when you're having this deal.
Well, you are vulnerable. You take a look at Tennessee. The arrival of David Sanders, top 10 recruit, big money NIL, and just that alone, I think, after spring caused Larry Johnson, who I think was developing some, to go to Colorado.
Yep.
And perhaps only the top 5 teams in the country can still stash players. But, my main concern is now, and I'd like Coach's thoughts on this, is, I tend to think that the players that are on your team, mainly the backups, I think there's a constant distraction of agents, of posse, whatever, that's still in a term used, of hanger-ons. I think these kids are bombarded. They have to be bombarded with doubt, with fake or real opportunities elsewhere. That has to slow your progression when everybody's not, rowing as hard as they can in the same direction.
Oh, Sean, absolutely. You're dead on. And that creates two issues. Number one, they're throwing money around now. I always, with you guys, I use the T on the side of that helmet. It would take a lot for the guy to take that helmet off of that T on the side of it. But all of a sudden now, with money flying around, big money flying around, it's a lot easier. And that's why I think a lot of these poor teams that now with $20 million to spend, they're going to get some solid players that are starters, but they're going and getting a lot of these really good backups to come to their program, which ups them about 3 or 4 wins. And now they're the ones winning 7 and 8 and 6, 7 and 8 when they were winning 1, 2, and 3.
Yep.
And they've made the biggest jump because of money. It was so hard to recruit against the T when I was at Vanderbilt, or the A when I was at UAB, or the T in Texas, the horns on the side when you're at Oklahoma. I mean, and now when you got money, that what's on the side of that helmet does not mean near as much. So I think depth is changed, and that's why I don't think teams are as good. They're not as good in their backup spots because you're going to just spend so much money on a backup. You can't spend over that in your own program. But these other teams are taking that backup, and he's going to be their man, and they're going to throw $750,000 at him, and that's near impossible to turn down. So it's changed the game, in my opinion. That's why I think consistency is not near what it used to be. No teams are near as consistent as they used to be, and I think luck now that if you have an injury and you don't have that same backup that you had, it makes it a different, complete football team when you lose that guy.
And that's why these teams at the top don't look as formidable or as scary as they once did. They're not the gathering storms they once were, because even like a Georgia, who's 6 on this guy's list, they leaked like 20, 23, 24 players out of their deal.
There you go.
In the offseason.
Did that happen 4 and 5, 6 years ago?
Hell, no way.
No
way.
I can remember being at places and, being at a place and playing Alabama, and you're sitting there and you're playing Alabama. This would have been 10 years ago or more. You're sitting there playing Alabama, and they're getting you good, and they got you 35-7 or something, and all of a sudden they put the backups in. And everybody said, well, they're going to ease off now. Well, those backups were pissed off. They want to prove a point. Hell, they were playing better than the starters. I mean, those days are gone. They're gone. It's just not the same anymore.
The great Watson Brown breaking it down scientifically on your TLD Logistics phone line. My name's Tony Basilio. Sean Sinclair's here. Let's get back to exercise, and then Watson, I appreciate you taking some time for us. Hey, Cinco, you brought up Texas. Horns down or horns up at number 4 for Texas this year, preseason? What do you think, according to Phil Steele? Horns up or horns down, Cinco? Where are you going? All right, how about you, Watson? Horns
I'm
up
leaving
or
them
horns
there.
down?
I think they're top 5. I think Arch Manning is going to play really, really well. Believe me, he knows the system well.
Yep.
He's going to be a little different than a new quarterback. And so I think he'll play well, and they're talented everywhere else. I would not put them out of the top 5.
For the Manning brand, we're all rooting for them. They really need to carve out a new niche. They're not on television enough, earn enough commercials. So we'll welcome it. Okay, let's go to Ohio State, number 5. Obviously, they've retooled. Obviously, they're in one of the 2 quote-unquote power leagues in this deal. Ohio State at 5, buying or selling?
That one is tough for me. They're right at that. They're either going to be 3-4 or they're going to be 7-8. They're going to be right in that middle somewhere, and I think it'll be off of quarterback play.
Yeah.
They lost some really good defensive players, too. And you want to talk about Ohio State. Anybody that had gone in there that night, that Tennessee catches grief for having a tough night, I don't care who went that night, it was going to be a tough night. That bunch was flat ready to play football and had handled that Michigan thing unbelievably well, and that's locker room and leaders. And that's tough. And Ohio State will be there. It's just going to be – that one is hard for me. I'm going to go 4-8 somewhere in there.
You know, here's the deal, right? Here's the deal. I look at them last year, and I knew Tennessee was probably going to lose the game. You know, you're all politics are local. You never want to say before a game you're going to lose a game, especially the week of the game. Like, I think Tennessee's not going to beat Georgia this year, but the week of the game, I'll practice some party discipline and, you know, try to get fans fired up. When those two teams, Watson, got on the field last year, and you saw that Ohio State was fully focused, fully in the moment, like, people that were there tell me that it was literally curtains for the Vols from the very beginning.
It'd have been curtains for anybody.
And that's the point.
That's not fair to Tennessee.
No.
Anybody that'd gone in there. I said all year to you all, and you remember, I said all year, that's the most talented team in the country.
It was crazy.
Ohio State has the best talent in the country. They just weren't playing great, and they weren't playing great at quarterback. And then all of a sudden, when they got turned around now, look at the way it went. Ain't nobody could stay with them the rest of the way. Not just Tennessee.
Yeah. And they collect five-star players. They're highly obnoxious. Bino calls them Yankee Bama under Nick Saban. Yankee
right.
Bama.
I thought about that, but that's pretty good.
Yeah, they're sickos. All right, let's move along. Georgia, number 6 in America, according to Phil Steele, which connotes a little bit of a slide here from where Kirby's had that program, but still darn good enough to be formidable. Still darn good enough to play at the top of the league. Are you buying or selling?
I'm moving them up.
Really? Okay.
I'm moving them up. I think they believe in that quarterback. I think he's going to play solid with a really good, talented team around him. I'm moving them up.
Crazy thing with Georgia in the past, Watson, is that this guy does his best work when he doesn't have the upper echelon quarterback, when he has the...
No, that's Georgia's way.
It's a weird deal.
It's a weird deal, but it's Georgia's way, and it's been Georgia's way. And so far, it's worked for him. And I think the Beck deal last year was a problem in the locker room. I do believe that.
I agree with that.
I do believe it. And I think when this young man went in, they all rallied, and he just wasn't hardly good enough in the game they lost. But I think Georgia's going to be better than people think this year.
Hey, Cinco, Georgia at 6, buying or selling or trading? What are you doing with them at 6, Sean?
I'm going to buy that with the caveat that they could be higher.
Yeah, yeah.
I know that the quarterback was a mixed bag, but I still think if they're not number one, they're number 2 in just overall elite talent. And the way they coach football and the way they recruit, the way they coach defense and the way they recruit defense will keep them in every game against everybody. Texas, Ohio, it doesn't matter. I think I have that much respect for the way Kirby Smart coaches defense and recruits people.
They're so good, it's almost obnoxious, Sean. Moving along, here's one that surprises me, Watson. Now, I know you and I have talked. You love this Mateer kid that comes from Washington State. He's come with his coordinator. Look, desperate times call for desperate measures. The head coach at Oklahoma knows he's under the gun. They don't sign up to come into this league and be Falderall for people. They don't sign up for coming into this league and having Tennessee boat race them on a Saturday night in their building. They don't sign, and Josh Heupel, they don't sign up for, going 500 in this league. That's not, and granted, they got dealt a very difficult schedule while Texas got dealt the first 2 years a fortuitous schedule. But Phil Steele has Oklahoma number 9 in America. Does that surprise you, Watson?
Yes. I just don't think the quarterback will make that big a difference early. And early is very important. Your early SEC schedule. I still think they have a very, very tough schedule, and they're good on defense, but they had their moments, and I just don't think they make that kind of jump. May top 25, yeah, maybe high teens, but I can't put them that high. No.
I'm going to have to say that I kind of agree with Watson here on Oklahoma. Oklahoma plays the likes of early in the year. They play the Michigan Wolverines, who and they host them. I love that this is going on between these two leagues now. And you see Clemson playing LSU. These high-profile early season games are what give college football its flavor. These intersectional games, as we once called them. Then they've got Auburn. They've got Texas, Red River Shootout. To Sean's point, they've got that South Carolina team that's going to be a real pain in the rear end for a lot of people. They come here on November 1. They've got Alabama. They've got Missouri, and they close the year with LSU.
Tough.
What Phil Steele wants me to believe is they're going to go 10-2 against that schedule. Now, they might go 9-3 against that schedule, but I don't see them going 10-2. Sean, what do you think? Is Cinco there?
Sorry about that. I got mute buzz there.
Mute Ninja Turtle.
You know, I think the thing that, I don't know about 10-2, but I think the thing that plays into their favor is one, they were just decimated with injuries.
Yes.
On the offensive line and wide receiver last year.
Yeah,
and then the quarterback play was inconsistent and, in my opinion, bungled by the coach. He couldn't stick with one guy long enough for either of them to get any traction. But what I would say about Oklahoma is the Michigan game, I don't know how that plays out, but early on they have about a month and a half to get their feet under them.
Yep.
And if Mateer and this new offensive coaching staff, coach was out there. That's an extremely proud program. They recruit very well. They recruit. I think they a lot of times recruit better players than their rankings because of Texas. Those players, so many players there. And I don't know about 10-2, but I think they can make some noise. And I'm very, very cautious about when they come in here because they will have been tested. They will have, I think, some confidence. And I don't think like last year. Last year was just a gauntlet for them. This year, I think they get some time to kind of build up a lather before they get smacked in the face.
Hey, Watson Brown, LSU 11. We talked about them earlier. Florida 17 in America. Mm-hmm. The guy you know his family. Look, from where Phil Steele has them, if they just outperform that by one win, this kid's got a chance. This guy's got a chance to scratch him into a playoff. How healthy is their quarterback? I just think there's too many question marks for my money to put them at 17 in America right now. What about the Florida Gators at 17, Watson?
I'm maybe top 25. Man, that schedule.
Oh.
And I feel for them. It's tough.
Amen.
And 8-4, 9-3 would be a great year if you ask me, with that schedule. And a 9-3 might get you in the playoffs.
Maybe.
But I just can't see them hanging that high up in the mid-teens. I can't see it.
Two ways.
Early maybe, but it'll get them sooner or later.
Two ways to torture yourself. Go play a round of golf. I'm just thinking about this. Or play Florida's football schedule. Two ways to absolutely
sooner
torture.
Or later, it's got to change. They've had it tough.
That's brutal. Hey, Cinco, them at 17, what do you think?
I think, like Coach, I think that's a bit high. I think last year, and it was easy to poke fun at Billy Napier, but I think the job he did last year was admirable. I think a lot of coaches would have folded under that pressure.
Yeah.
I think a lot more coaches would have lost their locker room, especially after their top quarterback went down with injury and they put the freshman in there. It may have been desperation, but nonetheless, he went with them and rode him. And they came out on a hot streak. So I think he's convinced me that he's a quality coach. He's not was it Sunbelt Billy? I think he's a quality SEC coach. And it wouldn't surprise me if they knocked off some of these guys. And the little known secret is he's been recruiting his fanny off. He has been recruiting as well or better than Tennessee in the high school ranks. And they have talent down there. And I think the Lagway kid, if his shoulder's healthy, I think he's dynamite.
Great player. I mean, look, when you insert a true freshman, and here's the context of this, and Florida, cover your ears because I'm going to brag on your guys for a second. But when you insert a true freshman and you play that schedule, and you have a losing record when he gets on the field, and he leads you to that season, I mean, you can't do much better than that, than what they did down the stretch in the year. And they knocked people out of the playoffs, Watson. They were a factor in that. Let me tell you something. The Florida team that got on the field at the end of the year, nobody would have wanted to play them in September. Nobody.
If they're lucky, Tony, they're borderline getting in the playoffs. If they're lucky.
That's
the way I see it.
Yeah, I think that's right.
If they end up 9-3 with that schedule, I think they get in. I think they'd be one of those late get-ins. That's the way I look at them.
Hey, Watson, on the way out, Phil Steele has our Tennessee Volunteers at 44.
Yeah.
Now look.
That's for a reason.
What's a reason?
Quarterback, 100%. You're bringing in a guy that's not been on this kind of level and hadn't proven that, and that's all that is. So if this quarterback's good enough, you go from 44 to the mid-teens pretty quick. It's all on the quarterback, in my opinion, who it ends up being and how well he plays.
If Nico comes back for that third year, okay,
they're in the mid-teens right now.
Mid-teens. That's
they're
what
in
you
the
think.
mid-teens right now.
Yeah.
They're sitting about where Florida is, or maybe a little higher.
Probably right. 15, 16, somewhere in that
Yep,
neighborhood.
that's what I think. It's all off the quarterback.
Sean, you agree with that? The ranking for the Vols in terms of quarterback just being that big of a key here?
I don't know that I agree with it, but I understand the perception. Phil Steele, several of his metrics, he said it on your show a couple times, revolve around returning offensive line starts, which we have very few, and the guy that is returning was, I'm sorry, he was abysmal at left tackle. And then he also factors in high school recruiting ranking, which we've been in the 8 to 14 range. And then I also think that the perception is that it was a deficit trade, Nico for Joey Aguilar. I'm not sure I believe that. I think production-wise, Aguilar may surprise people, and I am not in Nico's camp.
Let's go, Joey Football. Let's go, Joey Football.
Yeah, no offense to Nico and his family, and I mean this truly. No offense to him, but the more that's come out, and not from haters, the guy was a respectful kid. He was a nice kid. He apparently took care of his business, but he was not a kid that elevated the play of people around him. I don't think he processed things. I know that's obviously a big characteristic of Coach. I don't think he was an accurate passer. I think he was I think he did not see the field pass. I don't think he saw the second level, nevertheless the third of a defense. And I think he was indecisive. So it would not surprise me if Joey Aguilar was a more productive quarterback than Nico would have been, regardless of not being here last year.
Watson, I gotta
be wrong.
I gotta give you a crack at that on the way out here. What do you think of what Sean just said?
Absolutely correct. I've talked about Nico many times, and he hadn't taken the step he needed to take yet. And it's going to be interesting to see if he took it this year, if he'd stayed.
Yep.
But I still believe Tennessee's good enough if the quarterback plays up to what he needs to play, because it's a quarterback-oriented offense. And if the quarterback plays up to that, I think they're mid-teen and borderline getting in the playoffs.
If this guy got this team,
I put them right with Florida if the quarterback plays. If he don't, I think it could be a tough year.
If they get this team to 9-3, like you're talking about, which is right in that mid-teens, that would be one.
I think that's
awesome
the top.
Coaching job.
That's the top they can go.
Awesome coaching job.
That's what I think. I think 9-3 is their limit.
I do think that's on the table. I do think that's
it's on the table. But
sure it is.
The quarterback is going to stay healthy, and Sean's right. They've got to protect him for him to stay healthy, and they have to run the ball for him to stay healthy. So it's going to be interesting to see. But I think if he plays up to it, they're on that 9-3 borderline, getting in the playoffs.
Watson, you are 100% the man. Anything else you'd care to add on the way out? And thanks for talking ball with us for an hour, dude.
No.
I mean, this has been incredible.
Glad to do it. It's always a blast talking to you guys.
Hey, can I ask you a question on the way out?
Yeah.
More mentally stimulating, an hour with us or hanging out with Kelly Holcomb on the radio? Thank you, Watson.
I ain't even going there. That's not fair.
Thank you, Watson.
That's not fair. I love Kelly. He's a good dude. And he can beat me in golf, so I don't want.
Oh,
I got to be careful.
Kelly, hey, what kind of scores Kelly shoot?
Kelly's probably a mid-low 70 dude.
Whoa!
Yeah, Kelly's a pretty good player.
Kelly's what they call an athlete.
Yeah, he is. I hate to say that, but he is.
Thank you, Watson. Good talking to you.
Love you guys. See ya.
I've always loved people, and he's presented by our friends at Simpsons Meats, online at simpsonsmeats.com. Steaks make a great gift box available. Check out their butcher shop located Level Road in West Knoxville. Simpsons Meats. I always love people that say athlete. You insert an A in there and you get my vote. You turn that into a multisyllabic word and you get my vote. And I love calling people athletes. Heflin looked at me. We were watching a baseball game in here, Will Heflin, and he says, VIP play Will. And he says to me, he's a nice player. I said, yeah, he is a nice player. He goes, why do you say that, Tony? Or he's a good ball player. I said, well, I got that from my dad. My dad used to say he's a good ball player. So people are good ball players. And you know what? Sometimes, Sean, in baseball, that describes guys, because there are guys that outperform their measurables, and I'm not sure Tennessee had enough of those guys on their roster last year. Those gritty, good ball player types. Those I love a good ball player. Cinco, before we go back to our phones, this discussion's been very interesting, and we're going to go to our telephone lines now at 865-200-5402. Do you believe, Sink, that this Tennessee team is going to finish around where Phil Steele has them? Are you buying or selling that rating for the Vols?
It's hard for me to say. Can you quantify a record for me?
Yeah,
does Brian, that mean 8-4.
Brian and I were talking about this. No, that's 7-5. If you're in the 40s, you're 7-5, 6-6. If you're in the 40s, in this deal.
Well, I'll tell you what. Ashamedly, you and I had talked. I thought this was an 8-4 team with Nico. I was gonna ratchet that down one with the uncertainty, and the again, I'm trying to find a playmaker that's done anything consistently in college, and I can't find one. Kitzelman maybe, but that schedule is so soft, conducive.
Amen.
I'm going to go with Thrody on this one. You said before, and I agreed with you until I looked at the schedule. You said if this coach goes 8-4, 9-3 with this team,
9-3.
He should get Coach of the Year. And you know what? And Thrody pushed back considerably. I'm almost siding with Thrody. I mean, this is your only game that realistically you're looking at an L. And I don't want to be the defeatist, but it's Georgia, Syracuse, Oklahoma, Alabama, Florida, on and on and on. I mean, you get Mississippi State, Kentucky, and Vandy. Those are tough, but at the University of Tennessee, at worst, the rest of the schedule, you have 11 games at the very least are 50-50. And if I remember right, Georgia is the only team that has a futures bet ahead of us.
Wow.
Is that right?
Well, I don't know. I haven't looked at it from that regard.
No, I don't think Alabama's projected over and under is higher than ours.
Wow.
And no one else's is.
And Florida, that would make sense because of their schedule. Syracuse, that would certainly make
a brutal schedule.
Syracuse, that would certainly make sense given what they lost. But let's go to the phones. And so the question is, how do you side on this thing? Where do you come down now that we've talked it out, talked about it, and we talk about it, and we will through the summer. But it's interesting to think about on this June day. Hello, welcome in. You're on the air. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air. All right. Hi, welcome in. Thanks for holding. You're on the air.
Hey, y'all. This is William.
Hey, William. Welcome in.
So we're about to get serious because I was talking to my dad yesterday, and he referenced this dude named Colin Stallions. You ever heard of him?
Connor Stallions, yes, sir.
Who's been accused of sign stealing.
Oh yeah, here I am, baby. Signed, sealed, delivered. He's yours, and he's not accused of it. It's in a documentary. It is a stone cold fact that Connor Stallions played a large part in Michigan's national championship run. And I'll tell you the sad thing about it is that Harbaugh doesn't even give the guy a lifeline, Cinco, after that. Plays dumb and acts like he doesn't know him.
No, exactly. I mean, William, you can look. People have served suspensions, not in the name of, but associated with that.
Yep.
We had a caller earlier this week, I believe, pointed out fact-based of the deficiency of South Carolina's offense and defense prior to our game in Clemson, and then how they went off the cliff immediately after that game. Those two games against where they scored 9 straight touchdowns again, that was a complete outlier. They couldn't even do that in practice.
Yep.
And also I think if your dad or whomever you're referencing, I don't like the vacated losses, vacated wins, vacated championships, but in my mind, and I'm no hater, in my mind, that national championship comes with a huge asterisk.
You're telling the truth, Cinco. You're taking this man under wing right now.
And he also told me that he was also spotted at a Tennessee football game.
That's correct.
I believe it was Kentucky.
He scouted several teams. He scouted us. He scouted Clemson. Basically, the way that year transpired, Tennessee, at that point, you're in a 4-game playoff. It wasn't like last year. So you had about 6 or 8 schools to look at when you got to the midway point of the season and say, okay, these are the teams potentially that we're going to see down the line go get their signal package. I need you to get in there.
William, you don't have to take anyone's word for it. It's been documented in pictures and checked credentials at different universities that either Mr. Stallions or his associates were at those games. That's been extremely well documented. That's not legend, myth, hate. He or his people that I'm not going to say paid for, but he paid for was working with.
Yep.
It is what it is. They were at those games, and there's no reason to be at those games because Michigan maybe or maybe not was going to play them. It was a very complicated web of scouting that no other team was doing.
And Harbaugh runs.
And with all due respect to the Harbaugh brothers, they're not that bright.
And they're running from him. Harbaugh runs from him like it's on fire. He didn't have time for this guy. He didn't even know who he is. I don't know. The guy was on the sidelines of a Western Michigan game or Central Michigan, and they were playing UNLV. They were getting an advanced scout on UNLV, Jim Harbaugh. UNLV? And Randall Cunningham's not walking back through that door. What are we doing?
But here's the main thing. Go back to 2022 to that dumb South Carolina game when we lost 68 to 38 or something. I can't remember. But we got blown out by a team who was terrible.
Tell him, William.
Somehow ended up beating us and Clemson. But anyway, go back. Notice.
Tell him, William.
Notice how that South Carolina somewhat knew exactly what Tennessee was going to do. Knew exactly. And I think this is why Jim Harbaugh left, because he was like, nope, we're in trouble. Mr. Jim Harbaugh, who was quarterback for the University of Michigan, then was drafted by the Chicago Nightmares.
Hey, Cinco, take me back to that fateful night. You were there at South Carolina. What parts of it was Connor Stallions? What part was it of the meltdown we had with the linebacker, whose name my name is escaping me? The names and what part of it was the annual scheduled stinker of Josh Heupel on the road against somebody unranked? You got three parts there.
It started off with a very quiet Vols entering the Williams-Brice Stadium. Not a lot of hype. That's okay. We were very much favored, so it was a take care of business thing. But the thing that struck me is, and we were sitting with all South Carolina fans just around them, all South Carolina fans, the sentiment was that they had bet on Tennessee to cover.
Yep.
And they just wanted it to not look bad. They were, and all throughout the game, they were just talking about, where is this Spencer Rattler been? What is going on? We can't do this against Air. Jeremy Banks, I believe was his name.
Banks, yep.
That was, as legend has it, that was coming off a week where Mr. Banks or somebody was wondering, or the defense was wondering why they weren't get promoted like Hendon was, NIL opportunities, publicity, etc. The thought was that the defense was maybe, I'm not going to say anyone tanked anything, but maybe they weren't clicking on all 8 cylinders. But nonetheless, you can't even describe South Carolina's offense prior to that without just saying inept. And they were doing things that they've never done before, and that was from season ticket holders that were sitting around me. They could not believe it. They even into the fourth quarter, they could not believe that they were still there. They were waiting for the tide to turn and Tennessee to win the game.
William, are you buying, selling, or trading that Tennessee got ripped off that night by the lords of college football?
I am buying that. We got completely ripped off. Completely.
Should have been in the 14 playoff. It's an utter disgrace. I stand against that. It's this cheating stuff. William, I appreciate you.
Not only that, but I blame South Carolina because you could see it. I was up in the upper deck. I was in nosebleed seats, as we used to call them, and their field is so locked with sand.
Yes.
That I believe it contributed greatly to Hendon Hooker's injury because, as I remember, it was a non-contact twist of his knee.
There's a lot of reasons to call that a Vol scar and probably one of the worst nights in modern era of Tennessee football history. Because you're in the national semifinal if that night doesn't happen with an offense that's cooking with grease. Now, do you beat Georgia that year? Probably not. But you get to play in the game. You get to play in the game. And our team that year, that day that we lit up Nick Saban in Neyland Stadium, and I mean threw over his safety, who's now in the NFL, pretty nice player, threw over him about 5 times. I mean, it was unbelievable, Andy. Come back on the other side. I want to hear from you. 865-200-5402. He's SEAN Sinclair DDS, beautiful Maryville. We've chopped it up today and then some as we continue with more after this.
Guests appear on the TLD Logistics Hotline. Online at tldlogistics.com.
Your Smokies are back home next week, and you asked for it, so you got it. All You Can Eat Wednesdays is back. Pulled pork, hot dogs, Bush's baked beans, popcorn, chips, drinks, a ticket to the game. You get it all. Don't forget Thirsty Thursdays with half-off draft beers, and next weekend, we've got Medieval Night on Friday with Knights, Royals, and fireworks. Smokies Version Night and fireworks on Saturday with the first 2,000 fans receiving a free friendship bracelet. And come meet Flippy on Sunday. Grab your tickets now at SmokiesBaseball.com.
Whether it's baseball, football, softball, church groups, or schools, if you're raising money, do it with locally roasted Grade A Grounds coffee. I'm Billy Miller, a Vol alum and Knoxville native. You keep 40% of sales, and we donate 5% back to our East Tennessee community. Get started today by visiting our website at gradeagrounds.com.
Since 2001, Pipe Wrench Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling has been the trusted and preferred name for over 70,000 Knoxville locals. Looking for expert plumbing services and HVAC services, including repairs, replacements, or maintenance. Voted Best Plumber in Knoxville and one of Knoxville's best HVAC companies 7 years in a row. Pipe Wrench is a fully licensed mechanical contractor and committed to excellence and craftsmanship, so you can trust our certified experts to go above and beyond to meet your plumbing and HVAC needs, no matter what problem arises. We also make it easy with transparent pricing, free on-site estimates for replacements, and free second opinions on repairs. And if budgets are tight, we offer flexible payment plans, including 0% financing when credit approved. Be sure to ask about our 10-plus year warranties that are 2 times longer than industry standards, so you don't spend a cent on unexpected costs in the future. So call Pipe Wrench at 865-264-8090 or book online at pipewrench.com to schedule your appointment today. And as always, same-day service guaranteed, or the visit is free.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Life never stops moving, and between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to Grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up, a tire designed for doers, a tire that's going to last, like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect, you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting to your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire. Basilio here for Budget Transmissions. TGMD, the great Matt Dixon, took his Ford Escape to budget, and like our Gold Bullet back in the day, it was a total mess. And now, Matt's back in the game. He's got a new transmission, axle, wheel bearing, both radiator hoses, engine mounts, coolant hoses. I mean, his Ford Escape was about to escape to the junkyard, but he didn't begrudge it. He took it to budget, and now he's on his way back to Omaha. Budget Transmissions, over 30 years in business, conveniently located in Bearden. All extended service contracts are honored. A gold certified Repair Pal member. 865-584-4391. 865-584-4391. Budget Transmissions. Don't begrudge it. Take it to budget.
Hi there, Basilio crew. Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. If you're thinking about selling your home, I've got good news for you. The East Tennessee and Knoxville areas are projected to have another strong year. I'll be happy to talk with you about the latest and greatest info you need. So give me a call at 865-694-5904 or contact me at nextmovesmokymountains.com. Hope to hear from you soon, and go Vols.
Tony B here with the great Sakai Ziegler. For
Hey, whoa. Tony, I got this. Hey, Tennessee, it's Easy here. Next time you have an electric issue at your home or business, call my friends at Advent Electric. With offices in Knoxville and Nashville, it's Mama's Easy approved.
You heard it from the most electrifying player in the league. Call the service professionals at Advent Electric, 865-588-0631. Online, adventelectric.com. Tell them ZZ sent you. All right, here to deal. Benny Hill. We have a few to play with. So if you want to get in, because I'm not staying. I'm not doing any TLD logistics overdrive overtime today. I do have time to say to you that my friends, and you better shout them out over at VIP Play. We crowned the Stanley Cup champion last night. You could have been in on that. If you'd have listened to me, I don't know. I didn't think the Florida team at the outside of the playoff was going to win again, but I guess that's why they call it gambling. You can go claim your VIP Play welcome bonus. You make your first bet $5 or more, $100 in bonus bets instantly. You want to put the promo code TNTony in there. Several hundred folks have. And you're making us the leader in this, the leader. And we all like to win. And you'll do that when you enter the VIP Players Club sweepstakes, because every bet you make on VIP Play gets you entries into the Players Club sweepstakes. Huge grand prize end of the month of June, which is right around the corner. One entry per bet, one entry per dollar bet. 10% of your entries on parlays and same-game parlays. And that contest is going to end on June 30 with subsequent contests to follow monthly. Remember, 25% Major League parlay profit boost, 3 picks or more. The NBA No Danger Wager for Game 6. Will we see a closeout situation? It's going to be extremely interesting to see if we can get that thing into a 7th game. And in a 7th game, who knows? As you've seen in the NBA playoffs in this final, one 5-minute stretch can unravel one of those teams. It's a really interesting series. Is that young Oklahoma City team going to win one? Because if they do, they might win several. If they can pop the top, they're in a real position to do that with their young core under control and then several draft picks on the way. They're in an amazing spot. And this homeroom guy can really play. They're getting contributions from different guys at any rate. Check it out. Live always, 200-plus leagues, numerous bet types, props, options. If you have a bet in mind you can't find on the sports book, check out my man Robert Killer Kowalski and say, hey, Killer, I want action on this. And he'll put something together for you because that's what they do. That's why everybody gets treated like a VIP over at VIP Play. And if you have a gambling problem, 800-889-9789. 21 and over in the state of Tennessee to place a bet. Hey, Cinco, what do you make of the great Ben McKee's appearance on here yesterday? Because I find that man to be the hottest working man in show business, and I find that he brought it to the table.
I'm glad we have a market that has a number of outlets that cover Tennessee sports.
Yep.
And I'm a paying member of all of them, if not most of the major ones. So when I say this, this is no disrespect to any competition or any content creators that cover the Vols, but I think Ben McKee covers baseball specifically better than anyone else.
I mean, he's killing it and grilling it. You know, me and Matt were talking last night. Matt was like, you know, because Matt's over there all the time. Matt's like, Tony, this guy gets so in the weeds on the recruiting and rolls up his sleeves so much. And sometimes you just got to look at a guy and go, damn, you're doing a hell of a job, man. Like yesterday, I told that kid on the air, I'm like, look, you're setting the market. You are setting the damn market, Ben McKee. So when you see Ben today, you tell him that we were bragging on his appearance on the TLD Logistics Hotline on a day where there's not going to be a TLD Logistics Overdrive overtime because I got to get to an appointment. Cinco, anything else you'd care to add here on the way out in the final 30 seconds? You're my man.
No, I hope everybody, until we meet again, I hope everybody gets to enjoy. I call it summer because my kids are out of school.
Yep, it's nice.
Yeah, I hope everybody gets to enjoy their summer. Hopefully the sun will come out. Go Big Orange, and please, a little offbeat here, but please tell your loved ones that you love them. Give your kids a hug, pet your animals, etc., because life is way too short, my friends.
Love you, brother. Thank you. And every day's a gift. I truly believe that. We get up every day. It's a gift. Some of us are dealing with circumstances, whatever they are. Hey, life, being here is a precious, precious thing. It's a miracle. And I love you, and I appreciate you. It's a miracle you found us as well. It'll be a miracle if you listen to Mark, because John Adams will be here, presented by Jennifer Morris. Next move, SmokyMountains.com. In the meantime, you're loved. You're appreciated. I thank you. I support you. We love you. Tony, hit the legal. Tony, what are you doing? I don't know. I scrubbed my board here. Here we go.
WJBE 1040 AM 99.7 FM. Translator W259AB. Powell, Knoxville.
And as I say, ladies and germs, that's it for us. We appreciate you. We thank you. I got to get somewhere. Peace. All right, here's today's offering. We run it back. Somebody told me the other day, they said, Tony, why were you on like an extra hour in June the other day? And I said, I don't know. I'm a sick individual. Like yesterday, I had a doctor's appointment. And the lady there at the front was like, I was listening to you. How did you make it sound that good? She was listening in the office. And I said, oh, I was on my, where my remote apparatus driving in the car. And she was like, huh? I thought you were just doing that for the I said, well, no. I said, obviously. You're dealing with a guy that's a sick person that loves what he does. That's me. Sick person that loves what he does. Here we go. Appreciate your peace. And when I say sick, I don't mean ill. I mean sick as when the kids say sick. I just got it bad for what I do. I love the art of this. Appreciate your peace. Enjoy your day.
FM. Translator W259AB. Powell, Knoxville.
So the content cut creators, okay? Back in the day, this is the essence of things before we had a real college baseball season to bear down on, and we would pour over these rankings this time of the year. And they would really urinate you off, like they got Tennessee 7 in America and Florida number 2, and no, we're better than them, and all off season and all summer, and there are so few of them now. There are just so few of them. Today we're going football. I welcome you in. And by the way, shout out to my friends at Rather and Kittrell Capital Management. Y'all are class acts. They sent me a nice little care package yesterday with a really nice note. And y'all are class people. So the beginning of today's program, we were going to have somebody in here in our Rather and Kittrell Capital Management World Champs Wednesday, but that kind of fell through. So here we are. We're going to talk about Phil Steele's ratings that he's released. And for the beginning of the season and go through these. And I'm going to bring Sean Sinclair in here. Watson Brown's going to join. I want to hear from you today. What on Phil Steele's ratings do we buy, sell, or trade? He's had a pretty good handle on Tennessee down through the years. He's had a pretty good handle on what's what. Before we get to his ratings, I kind of thought that even with Nico, this was going to be a step-back season for Tennessee. Many of you don't agree with that. That's fine. One thing about me, I'm always going to give you my opinion, and I'm always going to try to have some semblance of a reason why I feel about a certain way on any subject we talk about on here. But I'm a big believer in ball players when it comes to college football. I'm a big believer in talent. I love coaching. I think coaching matters. I think schemes matter, certainly. You play in this league, you better have some players. Maybe as a late, great Mike Patrick once said, some pliers. You better have some pliers. My friends at Rather and Kittrell Capital Management, look, maybe you're not sure how to make your money last in retirement. You can start smart planning today means peace of mind tomorrow. Maybe you're changing jobs. Maybe you're unsure what to do with a 401k. Help you make the right move there. Selling a business, getting a financial windfall, make your money work for you. Recently lost a spouse or partner. You don't have to navigate your financial decisions alone. They can help you with personalized financial planning, disciplined investment strategy, ongoing guidance and partnership. Rather and Kittrell, helping you make smart money decisions through life's transitions. RKCapital.com. Start planning today. The and schedule a free consultation, go to rkcapital.com. Let me bring Sean Sinclair in without further ado. Cinco, welcome in. How you doing? You excited to talk some football today?
Tony, I very much am. Thanks for having me